A hot cup of coffee. For some, it's just a morning ritual. For others, it's a break from chaos, a reason to sit, to breathe, a moment of peace in a noisy world. But for one man, coffee became more than just a drink. It became a dream, a purpose, a promise made long ago in a small cold apartment in Brooklyn. He saw his father lose not just work but dignity. And in that moment, that boy, Howard Schultz, made a silent oath. One day I will build something better, a place where people are not just co workers but a family, where every cup served carries respect, care, and belonging. Howard didn't come from wealth. He didn't inherit a company. He was not born a leader. He became one, sip by sip, step by painful step. Because this story is not about Starbucks, it's not about money, brand, or cafes. This is about you, about me, and about anyone who has ever been told you're too small, it won't work, stay in your place. Brewed from the bottom, the Howard Schultz story. Every fall taught him to pour stronger. Golden rule number 1: pain can be purpose. Howard Schultz was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. In 1960, Howard was just 7 when his father, a truck driver, slipped on ice and broke his hip. With no workers' compensation, no health benefits, and no job security, his father sat broken in body and spirit. No money, no hope, no dignity. He realized that dignity doesn't come from charity. It comes from being treated with respect, especially at work. That one injury, that one injustice became the seed of his future revolution. What we can learn from this is your suffering doesn't have to be your end. It can be your engine. What breaks you now may one day become the bridge you build for others. When you ask, why me? Ask instead, what can this pain make me become? Golden rule number 2: not every no is the end. Sometimes it's a redirection. After joining Starbucks in 1980s, Schultz visited Italy and saw something extraordinary. Espresso bars filled with life. People don't just drink coffee, they gathered, laughed, connected. Coffee was not just a beverage, it was a community ritual. Howard came back burning with an idea: Starbucks should create that experience in America. The answer was no. The founders didn't believe in his vision. That's not who we are. They said, we just sell beans. When Howard left Starbucks to pursue his dream of espresso bars, seeking investors for his new venture, out of 242 potential investors, 217 rejected his proposal. Rejection didn't mean he was wrong. It just meant he was ahead. So he walked away and built that vision himself. What we can learn is every rejection is a filter not for your worth but for your resilience. The world will tell you no, not because your dream is invalid but because it is invisible to them. Hold fast. If no one claps for your vision, clap for yourself and get to work. Golden rule number 3: never be afraid to start over even when you are at the top. It's not just what you build. It's who you protect, uplift, and inspire along the way. In 2008, Starbucks was in crisis. Its growth has outpaced its heart. Quality had dropped. Schultz returned as CEO and closed 7,100 stores for retraining, sacrificing millions in revenue just to restore the standards and soul. It was not a tactical decision, it was an emotional one. What we can learn is even when you have made it, you may have to start again. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you still care enough to fight. Golden rule number 4: find your why and protect it ruthlessly. He never opened a store to just make money. He opened each one to build the community. When Starbucks began to grow, many advised Schultz to franchise it, to scale faster and to earn more. But he refused. He believed Starbucks must own every store to preserve its values, its customer experience, and its culture. It cost him financially in short term but paid off long term in brand trust. What we can learn from this is growth that compromises your purpose is worthless. Protect your why because that's what people connect to. That's what makes you work immortal. Golden rule number 5: create culture before you create a product. People don't just buy coffee from Starbucks, they buy how it makes them feel. Starbucks was never just about beans, it was about ambience, music, smiles, barista, the smell, the vibe. It's a third place experience. This was not an accident. Schultz crafted every minute detail of Starbucks. He knew that in a world of noise, people crave belonging more than just a caffeine. So design your work for the soul, not just the senses. Finally, Howard was born with nothing but gave the world something unforgettable. They told him no again and again, but he turned every rejection into fuel, every wound into wisdom, every fall into foundation. Howard Schultz didn't just build Starbucks. He brewed a truth that where you start never defines where you can go. He proved that even a boy from a broken home can build a home for millions. That even when the world turns its back, your belief can carry you forward. Now ask yourself, what will you do with your pain? Will you carry it or will you craft something from it? When they tell you're not ready, will you wait or will you walk forward anyway? Will you just drink your coffee every morning or will you dare to be the reason someone else drink it with the hope? You don't need to be born lucky. You just need to be willing to rise anyway. Brew your dream and pour it to the world with everything you have got. You were not born empty. You were born brewing. Brew your courage, brew your story and serve it to the world. Hot, strong and unforgettable.